Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something you use every single day, but probably never really think about, the calendar. And trust me, its story is this wild 4,000-year battle between our need for order and the messy reality of the cosmos. I mean, seriously, what if you just woke up and a week and a half was just gone? It sounds like something out of a movie, right? Well, believe it or not, this actually happened to millions of people. And to get why, we have to understand this one fundamental problem our planet has with keeping time. So the whole issue really boils down to this one cosmic mismatch. On one side, you've got the Earth's actual trip around the sun, what astronomers call a tropical year. It's messy, it's complicated, it doesn't fit in a neat little box. And on the other side, you've got us, humans, who just want a simple calendar with a nice, clean, whole number of days. The two just don't play well together. And it all comes down to this one little number, right here, 0.2422. That tiny fraction of a day, it's a little less than 6 hours. That's the real villain of our story. It might not seem like a big deal, but when you let that build up over centuries, it creates a massive headache, throwing the seasons completely out of whack. Now, this wasn't some new problem we just discovered. The earliest civilizations were the first to really wrestle with this, and they came up with some pretty clever first drafts of the year, starting with the ancient Egyptians. You have to give it to the Egyptians. They were brilliant observers. They started out with a 360-day calendar that was tied to the flooding of the Nile River, but they noticed things were drifting. The seasons weren't lining up, so they added 5 days. That got them closer, but it was still not quite right. So they made one more crucial tweak, adding a leap day every 4 years. Their final version, a 365.25-day year, was remarkably close to the real thing. Okay, so let's jump over to Rome. While the Egyptians were busy perfecting their system, the Roman calendar was, to put it lightly, a complete and utter disaster. It was so messed up and out of sync that by 46 BC, Julius Caesar basically just said, all right, enough is enough. It was time for a hard reset. So to fix this mess, Caesar first did something drastic. He created what's now called the Year of Confusion. He literally just jammed 67 extra days into that 1 year to get the seasons back where they belonged. Can you imagine? Then he borrowed that brilliant idea from the Egyptians, a standard 365-day year with one simple rule, a leap day every 4 years. Just like that, order was restored. And here's a cool little bit of trivia for you. The Romans didn't count days like we do. They counted backward from certain points in the month. Their leap day was just a repeat of the 6th day before the 1st of March. In Latin, that's the bis sextum day, or the second sixth day. And boom, that's where we get our word bisextile for a leap year. But you know, even a big, logical plan like this wasn't immune to a little bit of old-fashioned ego. So the story goes that when Caesar's heir, Augustus, got his own month, he noticed July, named for Julius, had 31 days, but his month, August, only had 30. And, well, he couldn't have that, could he? So he just stole a day from February to make his month just as long. And poor February has been short ever since. All right, so the Julian calendar, Caesar's calendar, it pretty much fixed the length of the year. But in solving one problem, it created a totally new one. How are we supposed to number the years? For centuries, the Romans just counted from the founding of their city. But a new system was coming, and it came with its own little bug. So in the 6th century, this monk comes along, and his name, you can't make this up, Dionysius Exiguus, literally means Dionysius the Humble. He wanted to create a new way of counting the years, one that was centered on the birth of Christ. And that gave us the Anno Domini, or AD system we still use. But it seems his research might have been just a little too humble. The biggest clue to the mistake in his math is hiding in plain sight, right here in this famous line from the Bible. It says very clearly that Jesus was born in the days of Herod the king. So why is that one little detail so important? Well, because we have pretty solid historical records of when King Herod actually died. And this is where it all kind of falls apart. Historical records, which were later confirmed by guys like the astronomer Johannes Kepler, show that King Herod died in what we would call 4 BC. But Dionysius had calculated the birth of Christ to be 4 years after Herod was already dead. You see the problem? The timeline just doesn't work. So what does that all mean? It means the actual birth of Christ was most likely sometime around 5 BC. A 5-year error was basically baked into our entire timeline from the very beginning. And by the time anyone really figured it out, the AD system was so widely used that it was just too late to go back and fix it. Okay, so let's fast forward now to the 1500s. The Julian calendar has been running for more than 1,500 years. But that tiny little error from the very beginning, that fraction of a day we talked about, well, it had been quietly adding up, and it had grown into a huge new problem. Remember that 11-minute error? Here's where it really came back to bite everyone. The Julian year was just a little bit too long, and over 1,500 years, all those extra minutes had added up to 10 full days. The calendar was now 10 days out of sync with the seasons. And for the church, that was a major issue because it was messing up the date of Easter, which is a huge deal. So, in 1582, Pope Gregory XIII decided something had to be done. He got his top astronomer, Christopher Clavius, on the job, and he ordered one of the boldest, most dramatic edits to time in all of human history. What they came up with was just brilliant, and it had two main parts. First, the really drastic part that I mentioned. They just deleted 10 days. You went to sleep on Thursday, October 4th, and you woke up the next morning, and bam, it was Friday, October 15th. Gone. Then, to make sure it never happened again, they added a genius new rule for leap years. A century year is not a leap year unless it can be divided by 400. That's the tiny, elegant change that makes our modern calendar so incredibly accurate. But as you can probably guess, not everyone adopted this new calendar at once. Protestant and Orthodox countries were pretty suspicious of a Catholic reform. Russia, for instance, held out all the way until 1918. By that point, their calendar was 13 days behind, which is why their famous October Revolution actually took place in what the rest of the world called November. Kind of weird, right? So, here we are. After all of that, thousands of years of corrections, resets, and tweaks, where do we stand today? Is our modern Gregorian calendar finally actually perfect? Well, just look at this comparison. It shows you just how far we've managed to come. The old Julian calendar, it was off by about 11 minutes every single year. The Gregorian calendar that we use, it slashed that error all the way down to just 26 seconds. I mean, that is an absolutely incredible leap in precision. So now it's not technically perfect. We are still off by those 26 seconds. But that error is so incredibly small that it'll take more than 3,300 years just to add up to a single day. So yeah, I think we can let our great-great-great-great-great-grandkids worry about that one. So when you really think about it, the calendar on your phone or on your wall is so much more than just a grid of dates. It's a monument. It's a 4,000-year testament to human ingenuity and our stubborn, relentless quest to impose our own sense of order on time itself.